in the orchestra, and just very, very active kiddos. So I'm also a licensed clinical social worker. I work at IU Health Bloomington at an outpatient pediatric rehab clinic. So we provide physical, occupational, and speech therapy to kids with special needs. I'm also a runner. I am getting ready to run my 14th half marathon in just a couple weeks at the Monumental, and I ran my first full marathon just last year. And then I'm also a Beachbody coach. So I became a coach. I got started in 2014. I reached out to Jamie on Facebook. She actually didn't even invite me. So Jamie and I were acquaintances because she is best friends with my sister-in-law. And I was at a point in my life where my kids were getting a little bit older, and I have a history of anxiety, and my anxiety had just skyrocketed. And I had no energy. I was gaining more and more weight every year, and I had done some lab work at the hospital for health insurance. And my lab work came back, and everything was borderline. So it was at the point where they said, you really need to make some changes in your health, or you're gonna have to look at possibly, being on medication. And at this point, I was in my mid-30s, and I thought, okay, something's gotta change. So that's when I reached out to Jamie. I started 21 Day Fix, and I had success in the first 2 rounds of 21 Day Fix. And Jamie said, well, why don't you become a coach? And I was like, no, crazy lady. I'm not doing that. I'm not a coach. And she said, you're having success, and I think you'd be really good at it. You have all of these people reaching out to you. They want to know what you're doing. And, if you're not going to help them, you could at least send them my way. So I thought, okay, well, one of us has to help them. Might as well be me. So I really went into it thinking a little extra income, maybe going into the holidays, and then I'll just quit this whole thing. But I really ended up loving coaching. And what I found was that the income from coaching was really giving my family the additional income that we needed to pay for travel baseball and to pay for instruments and lessons and all of these things. I knew, though, that I wasn't ready to leave my job that I love. And so as my coaching business grew and became less of a hobby and more of a part-time business, it really became obvious that I needed to manage my priorities and become disciplined and diligent with my time. So, we all hear the quote. We all know it. You have the same amount of hours in the day as Beyonce, right? Right? We all do. Jamie has a mug. But the thing is, you aren't lacking time. We all have the same time. You are simply lacking some organization and direction. So tonight, I'm going to give you guys 4 ways that you can manage your priorities, and then some tangible organization tips that you can start implementing right away. So the first one is front-loading your week. And I have to give a shout out to, if you listen to the Rise Together podcast, Dave and Rachel Hollis actually said front load your week. That's one of the things they do. I was super excited a few months ago when I was listening to their podcast that they used Cozy, because I've been using the Cozy app for like 6 or 7 years. So I was like, yes, I rock. But Cozy is a free app, and you can put it on your phone. People can access it from a desktop. And my husband and I started using it because we had a dry erase board on the fridge. I had my planner, and he would be at work and not have a clue what was going on in life. Or if I forgot that planner, we had no clue what was going on. So the cool thing about Cozy is each member of our family in there is color-coded. So we know everybody's schedule. My kids have it on their phones. They know the schedule. And there's even one for the dog. So we know when she's going to the groomer, because that stuff's important to keep track of. And maybe Cozy's not for you. You can do Google Calendar, use a pen and paper, whatever works for you. But by front-loading my week, what I do, my husband and I, we have a weekly meeting. We do it every Sunday. Do it with yourself, your spouse, someone else important in your life. But we have a weekly meeting, and we talk about who's picking up who, where the practices are, who's going to be home for dinner, who we need to carpool with, who we need to send messages to. And we are prepared way in advance for what's coming. It's also how I schedule in my opportunities to go for a long run. I've got to figure out where everybody's going to be and when I'm going to have that time. So the next one is to create a successful routine. So you've already front-loaded your week. You've put those priorities or your rocks, that's what I call them, your rocks, into your schedule. So you know those big things that are coming. So in order to create a successful routine, for me, my schedule is different every single week. I work 3 days a week at the hospital, and those 3 days are never the same. But what always stays consistent for me is my morning routine. Every single day, 7 days a week, my routine is the same. Even when I was on vacation 2 weeks ago in Florida with my college roommates, I had the same routine. My alarm is across the room so that I have to get up to shut it off. I always lay out my workout clothes. I always get up in the morning and would always do some kind of personal development. I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I loved Erica Buzzard's call about the morning makeover. And I've started implementing some of that into my morning. So now when I head downstairs, I'm doing gratitude. I'm doing some kind of personal development that is inspiring. Maybe I'm reading Brene Brown or doing a short devotion. I'm reading my affirmations. I'm writing goals. Doing all of that while I'm drinking my Energize in the morning. And then I go push play. I share all of this on Instagram stories so that people see every single day, this girl's day is exactly the same. She's consistent and she shows up every day. Then after that, my kids get up, they start packing lunches, and I get ready for work. And I always get ready for work, no matter if I'm going to social work or to Beachbody work. I am up and I'm dressed and I just have that habit and that focus of it's time to work. So I do that because as soon as my kids are gone, if I'm not going to social work, I'm sitting down at my desk and I'm focused on Beachbody. I do that because for me, being at my desk on my desktop really keeps me focused. It's that space that I know I'm going to work. When I first started as a coach, I was like, this business is great. I can be on my phone. I can sit on the couch. I can be in my bed. And then it was like, and now I'm napping. So find where that space is for you that's going to make you work and keep you focused. Then in the evenings for me, I know that my routine, my big priority is family time. It's a time to reconnect with my kids. I'm taking them to practice. We're having dinner together. And during that time, I unplug. Now, you may see me post during that time, but my post will be very, very brief. It may be like what we're having for dinner. I think it's fine to do that as long as you aren't returning messages, liking, commenting. Just share your thing on stories and move on. Eliminating distractions. Okay, confession. Okay, how many of you have ever sat down and you start scrolling social media and before you know it, you are looking at your college roommate's friend's baby or you're on you found some dress and you're on the Like to Know It app and you're buying clothes. Who's done it? We've all done it, right? So for me, that distraction was my phone, and that's why I had to get off my phone. You have to do invites from your laptop, do that, but just eliminate those distractions and stop that mindless scrolling. As a newer coach, one way that I got really distracted was following other coaches. I'm not saying don't follow your upline coach or don't follow other people on your team. We want to do that. We want to, help everybody in the algorithm, but you do not need to follow every elite coach in this business. You just don't. It can be a time waster. It can be a joy stealer. When you see that, Christina Delgado opened her 5th business center, you're going to feel like, well, what am I doing over here? What do I have to offer? And when you follow those other people, you may not realize it, but you start reading their posts and you kind of start to try to sound like them. You stop trying to sound like you. And people will connect with you being you. So click on follow, maybe five top coaches, but limit it. Don't follow a whole bunch. Stop answering messages on the fly. Just stop doing this. I know it's so hard, but this will take up all of your time. And it gives people the illusion that you're always available, because you're on your phone and then you see, oh, that person that I messaged about that challenge pack, they're messaging me back. I've got to answer it right now. And you're going to just give them that illusion that all you do is sit on your phone. And so if you're going to call this a side hustle, that being tied to your phone is not a side hustle. They are never going to want to do what you do if they just see that you're always on your phone. So I even would apply this to checking in with your challenge groups. Your challengers don't need you to like their sweaty selfie the instant they post it. They just don't need it. And they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I don't care if Michelle wants to just wants to know what container her beach bar is. Michelle will be okay. Or she'll Google it, or she will figure it out. It'll be fine. It's not a tragedy. Turn off your notifications. I think it was Trina Gray may have said this at one of our trainings. I can't remember, but that little red circle that sits in the corner of your apps, you don't realize how much that little red dot is like alert, 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 answer me. And I really just encourage you to shut off those notifications, clean them out. It's going to keep you from answering messages on the fly. I would do it with every app you can possibly do it with, particularly email, the My Challenge Tracker app, Facebook, Instagram. Because if you make a post and you see that little red dot, you're going to be like, oh, did somebody respond to my story? Did somebody respond to my great thing that I just wrote? So turn it off. It'll be okay. You can check it in your designated time to check it. Start to finish. So when I was a kid, my mom had this, she was a constant multitasker. She would be the kind of mom that she would start cleaning the kitchen and then she'd find something that needed to be put away in the bedroom. So she'd run to the bedroom and then she'd start a load of laundry. And then an hour and a half later, the kitchen was never cleaned because she never finished what she started. So when we start those activities, we need to finish them. And the activities to focus on are those income-producing activities. Those are the most important ones. So those are invites, follow-ups, and growing your network. Just plain and simple. We all have heard of Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And it's so easy to, so with Eat That Frog, you want to do the thing that you don't want to do. For me, it's super easy to just want to go and like and comment and make fun graphics and check in with my challengers. But that's not producing income, and that is not helping me grow my business. So one way that I do that and I stay focused is I race the clock. When my kids were little, I used to set a timer and say, okay, we're going to pick up toys for 5 minutes and then we're done. And it totally worked for them. So I kind of do that for myself. I say, okay, I'm going to invite for, maybe I'm going to get 10 invites in the next 15 minutes. And I'm just like, go. And sometimes I get done before that 15 minutes is up and I can send more invites. So racing the clock can help. And then when you're done, it feels so good because that timer went off and you're done with that activity for the day. So some of my tips for tracking. So these are some of my little tips. We have so much information out there. There's so much out there on the Coach Online office, on the Beachbody Champions page, in our National Wake Up Call and trainings. And it's so easy to get bombarded with information. But if you listen to the top coaches, do they ever say that, they're successful because of this great Instagram training or the 6 hours of videos they watch? No, it always comes back to the vital behaviors every single time. So the business activity tracker, and Jamie might be giggling a little bit because I have fought the bat, for the entire time I've been a coach. I fought it for a really long time. And I finally realized why I fought it so much was that I like to check boxes. I like to have a completed list. And on those days that I worked at my social work job, I didn't always get all of my boxes checked. But on the days that I was doing my Beachbody job, I did. And I was doing 2-3 times more than what I needed to do that other day. So I just needed to come to peace with that they're simple actions. So think of the BAT as, it's like our programs. So you can do the workouts, but you're not going to have the success if you don't do the nutrition plan with it. And the same is true with coaching. You can coach people, but if you don't do those vital behaviors that are in the BAT, you're not going to have success. So do your BAT. Bookmarks in your Jamie's laughing. Bookmarks in your phone. When you can save so much content in your phone, and there are so many links that we're always going to, like the Coach Online Office and Share a Cart. Save those bookmarks in your phone. I have saved both of those. I saved the coach reimbursement enrollment form. I saved the link to live chat. Save as many bookmarks as you find yourself routinely going to, so that you can quickly copy and paste those and send them to people. In the notes section in your phone, save things in there. I save basic information about what is in the All Access On Demand Challenge Pack. I have it all written out so that when someone wants to know, well, what does it entail? I can quickly copy it, I can paste it, and I can send it to them instead of typing out the same thing over and over again. I also have one for how the coach discount works, maybe some Shakeology recipes, whatever is going to be helpful to you that you find you're routinely typing out. Google Drive is complete magic. I love it. It's so incredibly helpful. On my Google Drive, I've saved my favorite Shakeology recipes so that I can quickly email them to new customers, to leads. I have a tips and tricks like for the 3-day refresh that I've made out that I can send to people when they order the 3-day refresh with like my favorite tea and different things like that. And links to some of my favorite meal plans on the Beachbody blog. And then I want to show you guys, I also use Google Sheets. So what I love about Google Drive in general is that I always have it with me, because when my boys are playing in baseball tournaments, I'm away, and a lot of times all I have with me is my phone. So I can jump onto Google Drive or Google Sheets right from my phone and see everything that I need. So what I use on Google Sheets, it is so very basic, so very basic. But on this sheet, I put all of my current kind of active customers. I have their name, email, when their Beachbody On Demand is going to renew, their Shakeology HD date, what flavor they're drinking, their current program, notes about them. So this might be their goals. It might be, wants to fit into her wedding ring, or, she's already lost 5 pounds. Like when they hit little milestones, I might put that in there. And then the date is the last date that I spoke with them, or last date that I sent them a message. So when I see that one of my customers, their Shakeology HD is going to be coming in the next 1.5 to 2 weeks, I reach out to them with a personal message, and I'll say something like, especially when I know, they're in my challenge group. So I'm like, you're rocking Lift 4. Are you still loving your vegan chocolate Shakeology? Your next bag's about to ship. Would you like to save 25%? That way I am jumping ahead, I'm getting ahead of the game, and I'm reaching out to them before that F1 ever sends. And then over here, I'll put in the notes section, mention 25%, mention coach discount. Then in the date, I'm tracking every date that I talk to people. So if you go up here to this little arrow, you can sort your sheet from Z to A or A to Z. So you can either have the person that you talked to most recently on the top and the person that you last talked to in the past down here, or you can do vice versa. So it's creating just a rolling list all the time so that I'm always checking in with these people and they're never falling off for me. So that's how I how I kind of do that. So, okay, finally, I just want to leave you guys with this. You've probably all heard of Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So he talks about these 2 jars of rocks. And your big rocks are the big things in your life. They're your family. They're time, for me, though, it's family, time with my spouse, my workout, both of my, work, success club. Those are big rocks for me every single month. You identify your pebbles. Your pebbles are your challenge group, your coaches, answering email, making connections. Those are pebbles. And then the sand is everything else that comes into your life. So if I start filling my day like the one on the left, if I start filling my day with sand and pebbles, and then I put in the rocks, then everything won't fit and something loses my time and my energy. But if I front load and put in my big rocks first, and then my pebbles fill in the space around the big rocks, and then the sand fills in the space, it all fits in the same jar, and it's the same amount of stuff. So the point is not that if you try really, really hard that you can make it all fit. The point is just stop trying to get more things done, identify the big rocks, and the other rocks will fall into place. So there you go. So now you all have some tips of how to implement some of that into your week, hopefully.
I'm not sure what you were nervous about. Because that freaking rocked.
Thank you.
So, first of all, you told stories, which I was like, yes. Secondly, and I hope everyone is getting this. As you are talking, at no point, Audra, did I ever feel like you're saying something is getting the shaft in order to give something your energy. Yeah. You are communicating to us very clearly that everything works and that nobody's busier than anyone else. What you've done is find a system to make it all work. Mm-hmm. And you probably have more on your plate, objectively than maybe some other folks do, but yet you very calmly and strategically have found a way because you've decided that all of it is important. Yeah. So all of it deserves a space and you're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. So that's what I love so much. It wasn't like, and then I got to do this because I got to do that. No, this is how I'm going about my day, very strategically. And when you have that kind of plan, sure makes it easier to get through your day and feel like you are being intentional about it. Like you put some thought into it. So it makes a whole lot more sense. And I'm guessing that at the end of the day, even if you don't get everything done that you want to, just the knowing that you are intentional about it probably makes you feel a whole heck of a lot better when you put your head on the pillow at night.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you that sense of you made your choices and you figured out what those big rocks are. Mm-hmm. And you got done what you could in that day. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love when you talked about following top coaches and just, not letting them sort of infiltrate into your own content. And I just heard yesterday on a podcast, and it might've been Rachel Hollis's podcast with Julie Solomon, I think. And her guest was saying that her mindset is she creates before she consumes. So because she puts out content because she wants to put out, good content for her followers, she creates before she consumes. So before she looks at anybody else on Instagram, before she looks at anybody else on Facebook, before she does anything else, she gets up and kind of writes out what's in her heart that she would want to put out into the world and gets it out before she consumes anything else. And the way she put that, create before you consume, I thought was so succinct and memorable that it's exactly what you're saying. Put out what you're saying before you're looking at what someone else is doing.
Yeah.
So does anyone have questions? I don't even know what time it is. So we've got a few minutes. Who has some questions? There was some stuff in the chat. Let me go through and see. Love the Google Sheet idea. Does anyone have any questions on Google or how to use it or not how to use it? Or you use something else that works? I use Google Calendar. So I was happy to see that you also said that, because the thought of trying to learn another app, I was like, ah! So Sarah says, do you have another Google Sheet for potential customers?
I do. I forgot to mention that. I have another sheet that I keep track of all of my contacts, and it literally just has like name, their email if I have it, if I'm following them on Facebook or Instagram, some notes about our conversation, maybe what their goals are. They have 2 dogs, I don't know, stuff like that, and the last time I talked to them. I also have a Google Sheet for my coaches, so that I know my coaches' goals, what program they're currently doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I last talked to them. So.
Sarah, does that answer your question? I think it probably does. Amanda, she doesn't need to share her blank sheet because you can go to Google and create your own. All it has is little tabs right across, and maybe her tabs are different from your tabs. So no, Amanda, she cannot share it. Go to Google. Any other questions for Audra? Time management, efficiency. What else did I write down? BAT. We have a new BAT coming out, a new business activity tracker coming out soon. So it's a little updated. I think you're going to find it less that you want to fight it, Audra. You'll probably love it so much that you'll never fight it.
I just like to fill in all the blanks.
That's a day well spent if all the blanks are filled in.
Give me a black Sharpie and a list, and I'm
So you guys, the last few weeks on these calls, first of all, you've gotten an incredible template from Erica about how to invite. You've just gotten some incredible time management tips from Audra. And and last week I shared some stuff from leadership about some self-checking if you're truly, all in the business. So the last 3 weeks have been chock full of really tangible stuff that you should be starting to put into action every single day. So tomorrow morning, you should be getting up, looking at how you can front load your week and be using Google Calendars and Google Sheets to help keep you organized. If that feels good to you, paper, pencil, whatever it might be, but you're front loading and getting your calendars organized. You're sending out your invites straight away with that amazing template that Erica had shared with us a couple weeks ago. You're asking yourself some of those questions that I shared last week about National Wake Up Call, live events, all those pieces that lead into being all in and building this business. And every week you're getting another tool to put in your toolbox to help you move your business forward. These are not calls that exist in a vacuum. You're taking these and building on them every single week. Next week, we'll talk a little bit about Super Sunday and some of the stuff that comes out after that will come out next week. The next week, Jamie Parsons is sharing with us. Jamie, I can't remember what you're talking about, but I know it'll be awesome. If you want to unmute and tell us.
I'm talking about the bat.
That's right. Yes.
My favorite thing.
I thought that's what it was, but I wasn't sure. So yes. So everything continues to build on each other as you take the invites, as you strategize your week ahead, as you ask yourself these questions, as you look at all the products and promotions and the really cool activity that we're going to do here in Indiana next Sunday at our Super Sunday. And then you're learning about the business activity tracker and how to implement that. And everything continues to build so that every week your business is moving forward. If you're listening to these calls and then getting up on Monday and doing nothing with them, then shame on you. Because people are pouring into these calls to share information for no other reason than to help all of us get better. And then it's on us to have taken notes and then take action. So get up tomorrow morning and take some action, because by midnight tomorrow night, I want a whole host of Sparta Nation calls or Sparta Nation coaches on a call with Carl Deichler this month. Because that's really cool. You know how to manage your time. You know what kind of invites to send. You know how to gut check and make sure you're all in. Next weekend, you'll go to Super Sunday. You'll get even more reignited. And this is how we change lives every single week. So Sparta Nation, get ready to take some action tomorrow morning. If you are in the Diamond Shift group, stay on. We're going to do some accountability. If you're not, you can sign off. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.